Hi, and welcome to the show. Can you ever imagine being attacked by the teachers union? During the pandemic, the feds went after people for targeting the union teachers. Now the union teachers are targeting parents. This is the one parent, enemy of the state. Rhode Island mom teachers union targeted and harassed her. This is what they said in part. Part of our well-coordinated effort from outside groups with outdated thinking who want to push reenactment lessons to fuel division among our South community. View last Wednesday's SC meeting, South Carolina meeting. People attended the meeting from across New England. Tonight, we're going to hear from this woman. Take a look.
Speaking of weaponization, remember how the feds were targeting parents for speaking out against teachers' unions during pandemic school lockdowns? Well, now, one Rhode Island mom is fighting back. Nicole Solis says she filed public requests for her daughter's public school curriculum. That's fair. It's a public school. She's a public school parent. But because of that, she says she eventually became the subject of a secret meeting. Even worse, the teachers' union sued her, all because she was concerned about her daughter and what she was learning. She's now backing a Republican push for a parental bill of rights. And look who's here. It is Rhode Island mother of two, Independent Women's Forum senior fellow, Nicole Solis. So, Nicole, how did this all begin? How did you find out that you were the target of a secret meeting at your daughter's school?
Well, this all began because my school told me to submit public records requests to know what my kindergartner would be learning in school. And then I had a teacher at my school leak slides to me showing that they put my picture on slides, painting me like a criminal, saying that I submitted all these public records requests. And they did this because they wanted to organize against me and send a message to other parents that you will be retaliated against if you ask questions. These slides were created by a middle school math teacher in my town who thought it was a totally normal and not psychotic thing to cut and paste pictures of my face. And this isn't the only way that the teachers union has been targeting me. After they sued me to bully me and silence me, they then went on Twitter. The executive director of the NEA Rhode Island went on Twitter to organize his teacher union minions against me to try to deplatform me and silence me. So it's not enough to sue me. It's not enough to have secret meetings about me. They want to completely silence me because a parent who questions their political agenda is their most formidable political opponent. And this isn't only happening to me. There's another parent in Rhode Island that was threatened to be sued by the NEA Rhode Island. I have parents across the country telling me that they were also threatened to be sued by their local teachers union. So this is beyond just a political teachers union. This is the education mafia quietly intimidating their political opponents.
So when did parents become the political opponents? When did parents become adversaries? Because, if I'm a teacher, that's a bad group of people to pick on, because guess what? Parents are more invested than anyone in this entire enterprise, and we are not going away.
That's right, and we have study after study showing that parental involvement in education is the key factor in our students' success. I think this all started, or at least got accelerated, with Merrick Garland labeling us all domestic terrorists. So I proudly wear that badge on my Twitter account that they're trying to silence, because we're not domestic terrorists. We're just parents that are involved in our kids' education.
And we see you. We see what's happening. Every time they send an email about, some diversity committee, it's like, I'm like, okay, fine. Diversity is great. How about math? How about we start with that and then we work on the extracurriculars? I think it's a horrible fight. The teachers unions are on the losing side because parents have only begun to get involved and engaged. Nicole, do you encourage other parents out there to file requests for information about what their children are learning and what they're exposed to?
Absolutely, and now that we know that the teachers union doesn't like public records requests, we should absolutely keep submitting public records requests to get our questions answered. The other thing you can do is call your legislators and tell them that you're not going to vote for them unless they pass school choice legislation. School choice will break the chokehold of the teachers union on American education. These are the psychopaths that are controlling American education. They have secret meetings about moms that criticize them or just ask questions. Unreal.
Yes, and you know what? They're losing their grasp on power. They know it. They're getting desperate. So now is the time to fight back even harder. Good for you, Nicole, and best of luck to you and your family. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Wow. So, with that being said, common sense alert. So where do I begin here? First off, parents attacking teachers union, it's not, I don't want to say, I want to say GMB, but teachers unions targeting parents? Give me a break. If they want to know what their kids are learning, then let them ask questions. You don't need to attack, you teachers unions out there, don't be attacking parents for what they're doing. All they want to do is start asking questions, submit requests. All they want to do is start asking questions. So that way they know, so they can know what their kids are learning. You don't need to start attacking them on Twitter and start silencing them because they're trying to make you look like a bad guy. And school choice, that's good. It's a good way. Remember in Stupid America we talked about school choice, school boards, teachers unions ejected, parents sent home, teachers, schools sent home PTA letters to kids saying contact lecture how we spend money when something has been used. But if we had a school choice, the money is attached to the kid. They can choose whatever school to go to. It's vouchers that we need. Am I saying get rid of the teachers unions? No. We don't need to get rid of Nancy Vera. She's a great president of the teachers unions. We're not going to get rid of her. We don't need to get rid of teachers unions. We got to present common sense here. In this case right here, she did the right thing. But no one's taking it very seriously. No one ever. This mom says that school isn't taking bullying seriously enough. When schools say take bullying very seriously, they probably take it more seriously. We'll hear from her when we return. Stay with us. Here's a question for you. Can you imagine rewarding your kids with half days and pep rallies if there's no bullying going on? It's exactly what happened in this next case. In this next story here, a mother is speaking now, telling her side, saying that schools aren't taking bullying very seriously. One school district says they have reward systems where there's not a fight going on, it's a half day or a pep rally. Should it happen? Judge for yourself. Take a look.
As Bayonne High School implements a new anti-bullying initiative, a parent is speaking out about her daughter's experience. The school is rewarding students with half days or pep rallies if there is no fighting or bullying. But this mom told us her two teenage daughters have been bullied at the school for weeks. She claims her 15-year-old was hit in the face by another student, leaving her with a broken nose. She said the school separated her daughters from the alleged bullies, but that is not enough.
At least 2 weeks prior, I have been calling the school asking for a parent conference because obviously what the school have been implementing and attempting to do, it just wasn't working. I don't feel like they're taking this seriously enough. You know, it shouldn't have taken for my daughter to have a broken nose for them to try to now do something.
The superintendent said the school began planning the anti-bullying initiative back in January. The superintendent said, in part, we take all bullying incidents very seriously in Bayonne. We are working on many strategies to eradicate and reduce it in all of our city schools.
And with one of these strategies being rewarding kids with half days? Are you kidding me? Common sense alert. Where's the common sense in this? You're rewarding kids who don't bully. What's going to happen now? You're going to reward them with ice cream, fish and chips, walk on the beach, field trips? That's something for little kids. It's not something for high schoolers. You praise them saying, great job. You don't reward freaking pizza parties. Pizza Party Fridays. That's something for like middle school or something. But what you gotta understand here is if there's bullying going on, you don't reward kids. You don't ever. That's like rewarding bad behavior. School takes bullying very seriously, and you want to sit there and say, oh, there's no bullying going on, then we can just reward pizza parties or something.
Speaking of weaponization.
And it's just a lot of times when people want to stand up here and say, hey, I'm not bullying everyone. I mean, bullying is just wrong. You don't mean, when people report things, I got nothing else to say here. But the bottom line here is that you do not need to reward people with like pizza parties, field trips, whatever. I mean, if you think about the episode, King of the Hill, the no Bobby Left Behind, it was part of the No Child Left Behind night taking the standardized test. They failed to do so, then the schools could be held accountable. So, what else could have been? And they just took on a field trip to the thing without district approval. Now the principal, it was just the principals that did it, but did they get approval from the superintendent? If the superintendent saw what was going on, it's like, what are you doing? We're doing a field trip. Why? Because there was no bullying going on. Really? No bullying going on? No bullying going on? And you want to reward a field trip? That's outrageous. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. All right. Sorry. We're about to, before we go on break, I want to give you a sneak peek of what's going on. Coming up March 31st, we're gonna do a Give Me a Break special all about the Selena murders. We're gonna hear from Yolanda Saldivad tell her side of the story about when she was murdered, about when she murdered Selena. She says it didn't happen. It's probably a throwback those of you won't miss. So we're gonna have that for you soon. But coming up next, as spring break approaches, there are some fair games to play. But do you know if you're really winning those fair games? Arnold Diaz with those carnival games that are rigged so you can't win. Stay with us. Are you planning on going to the Bug Days Carnival in May? Are you planning on going to any carnival sometime this year? If you're thinking about playing those carnival games, you better be watching this next story here. It's about all about these carnival games that are designed so that you can't win. I want to show you something. Before I show you this report, I want to show you well, never mind then. But there's an old saying. It was P.T. Bonham who said there was a sucker born every minute. Well, people hate to tell you, that sucker could be you. If you're one of the millions of people playing carnival games, then you're one of the few people that just sit there and just look at that and say, they're probably not playing fair at the fair. So what's really going on? Here's all Diaz.
At the fair. It's carnival time.
Every year, almost 20,000 carnivals and state fairs come to towns and cities across America. They're fun for the entire family. A place where kids can experience the thrill of victory. But a 2020 hidden camera investigation finds some carnival games are fixed, so you can't win. In the business, they're called racket games.
The honest operators would love to see the racket games off the midway.
We hired former police investigator Bill Howard to survey a dozen carnivals. He reported finding rigged games at 9 of them. The worst example, the games run by carnival giant Murphy Brothers at the Super Fair in New Orleans, the largest indoor carnival in the country. Take the ring toss game. Chances are this young girl will never win. Try it again. We watched people play for a solid hour, and nobody could get the ring over the orange block. So we wondered if they actually fit over. So we asked him to take any ring and slip it over the block. He tried, but it wouldn't go. Then he moved the block and tried it again. Frustrated, he broke it. Is this rifle game truly a game of skill? To find out, we brought along junior rifle champion Michelle Montara. The object is to shoot out the red star, but Michelle's gun kept jamming.
Let me give you a different gun. That was great.
The other gun also jammed. That's because we discovered this Carney uses smaller BBs than the gun is designed for. As a result, Michelle never came close to winning. At the bushel basket game, I thought I heard the Carney call me Mark. Mark is the Carney's name for players they plan to cheat.
All he's going to do is put 2 balls in the basket.
Notice when he demonstrates, he leaves a ball in the basket to deaden his throw. And he does the same thing when he offers me a free try.
That's pretty easy.
However, things change after I give him my money to play. You can see he now takes out that helpful deadening ball, and the result is I lose. As if that's not enough, another Carney was making up his own rules for this game.
All right, now the outside game is 10 in.
10 in to win. That's impossible, says retired police officer Tom Taylor, who trains cops to spot carnival fraud.
That game's played everywhere that I've ever seen it. 2 balls in wins. But to work it so strong that you're going to have 10 in wins is taking money from people.
It makes it a sucker's game.
Yes.
And in fact, the rules here only require 2 in to win. But this Carney has turned the rules board face down.
Where are the rules supposed to be? Where are they? I don't see the rules anywhere.
We knew that this guy had recently been caught doing the same thing at another carnival.
Are you up to just like cheating people here? Are you up to cheating people here? You've been arrested, haven't you? No, I haven't. You've never been arrested? You never pleaded guilty?
He's lying. Here's his mugshot from when he pled guilty to a misdemeanor violation of Oklahoma's carnival laws. Here's a game that looks simple enough. Knock down both Coke bottles with 1 roll of the softball.
That looks so easy. It is easy.
But our experts say Carnies rigged this game with a clever trick by placing 1 bottle slightly in front of the other. That front bottle absorbs the impact of the ball and deflects it, making it impossible to knock down the second bottle.
See this? Why is this bottle, no, don't move it back. Why is this bottle placed in front of this bottle? Yes, it is. It is, by accident? I don't think that's an accident. No. Did you just say that it was by accident? That's by, yeah. By accident. Come on. I did it. It's been a long day.
At the balloon dart game, the Carney says pop 3 small balloons and you win the big prize.
See the small ones up on top? It's a $5 game.
It should be a cinch for champion dart thrower Teresa Marie. However, when we brought her to the carnival, she hit the balloons, but they didn't pop.
Well, looked like it hit it. You gotta pop it? How can you hit it and not pop it? No. Huh? You gotta shoot hard. Shoot hard.
The real racket here is the points on most of the darts are not sharp enough to pop the suspiciously underinflated balloons. The most popular game on the Midway was basketball. Some people spent more than $20 trying to make a basket, but they didn't know what I found out.
Got a regulation size basketball?
Yeah, it's regulation ball. It's got
A couple more pounds of air? Yeah. So it bounces off a little off the rim.
Yeah. Gotta do something, baby.
All right. Is it a regulation size rim, too?
It's a little smaller, too.
A little smaller, too.
An overinflated ball and a small rim that's not even round. It's oval shaped. No wonder there were so many losers.
I spent $30. I didn't win. I mean, the ball is go in, bounce, and it come out.
When Murphy Games manager Nigel Carley came over, he said he tries, but it's difficult to control so many game operators.
It's my job to make sure they're all appropriate games for the public.
To prove our point, we took him to the ring toss, where we asked the Carney to demonstrate that the game could be won.
The easiest way to do it is to come down at the block from up above.
But you're still not doing it. You're right up close. Let me see.
We let him stand a lot closer than he lets the players, and he missed one after another. 8 times he tried and failed from less than a foot away.
You get my point, right? You get my point. Even he was very.
Our next stop, the Coke Roll, where they were doing the same crooked setups I'd seen earlier.
I said to the guy, why is the left one in front? And he said it was an accident. Now I come up and they're set up the same way. If you see the way that's set up, that's designed to make people lose, isn't it? Excuse me. Hold on a second. I'm talking to him.
I would say if you get it on slow motion, this and that, the ball hitting this and that, from a quarter of an inch, it isn't going to make a difference on the game.
Oh, yes, it is. With a crooked setup, even if the ball hits right in the middle, this is what will always happen. Only one bottle will go down. On to the rifle game, where our expert explained the problem to the manager.
You can shoot it halfway around, it'll jam.
And sure enough, when he tried, the same thing happened.
When you write it and it's jammed, I guess that's part of the air in the mechanism. I mean, that's part of a game.
Part of a game. Only one that's designed to make you lose. As is this basket game. Another 10-in to win racket. The Carney insisted he could get 10 balls in, so we said, let's see you. He did no better than the players.
That was an almost. Give me that. Y'all got me really nervous.
Isn't this a classic con?
No, it's not a classic con.
People cannot win this. They are going to spend so much money because every time you miss, you got to spend another $2.
Okay, so now the next thing is to perfect the game. So now,
The manager said this was a new game they were trying out. But he couldn't use that excuse when we returned to the balloon dart game, where the Carney said the little balloons were easy to break.
Can you do it?
yes, sir.
All right, go ahead.
At $2 a dart, this guy would have spent a fortune trying to break 3 balloons.
Come on.
Is he a victim of his own dull darts?
I usually hit him.
It took him 13 darts to break 1 balloon. At that rate, it would have cost him $65 to win the prize. And in some games, even if you win, you get ripped off. Instead of getting one of the nice prizes on display, we saw the Carnies reaching into a hidden trough for a much cheaper prize, like a plastic squirt gun, a prize the Carnies call slum.
Those pieces of junk that people get, and they think, what's this? Because all they say are these small prizes over there. Why are these hidden back here?
Clearly, our visit shook up the largest indoor carnival in the country.
The games manager promised us there'd be changes made, so we came back the next night.
So are there changes being made? Let's take a look.
Walked down the Midway, found a lot of good things that hadn't been there the night before.
All of a sudden, it seemed like everyone was winning.
Yeah, I won every game I played so far.
Now the Carnies were using a straight edge to line up those Coke bottles, and gone were those underinflated balloons. The darts were still dull, so players were now invited to bring their own. Those slum prizes were now on display. And the rules on several basket games had been changed from the impossible 10-in to win.
As you pointed out to me, you're the one that changed his. I switched the game to 3 balls to make it a rope because 10 was too difficult.
The cost of many games had been cut in half. The prizes were clearly marked. And as for that crooked Carney...
We have your picture from the cops. Yeah, so?
Okay, what's going to happen with that now that you brought that to my attention? The minute I get out of this interview, he's going to be fired.
And guess what? After our visit, Nigel Carley was fired by company owner Jerry Murphy. Murphy would not meet with us for an on-camera interview, but said by phone, "My policy is to run a clean midway, a quality show where people can win."
How about it? Come on, 100 shots. Check this out.
There are many good carnivals like this one we found in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, where the manager said, "We don't need to cheat. We make enough money running our games honestly." But obviously not all operators feel that way. And in this $6 billion a year, largely unregulated cash industry, there are plenty of ways to cheat. So beware of crooked Carnies.
He's going to take your money. He's going to rob you, in effect. The only thing is, instead of using a gun or a knife, he's going to use deception as his weapon to take your money from you. And that's wrong. It shouldn't be that way.
Arnold, is there any way of knowing whether a game you approach is honestly run?
You can't know for certain, but there are a few things the experts say you can look for. If they only give out big prizes, watch out. It means there probably won't be many winners. If you don't see many people winning while you're watching the game, walk away. And ask the operator, show me how to win. As you saw, many of them couldn't do that.
Yeah. Has anything changed since you first reported on this?
And the Murphy brothers, they say there has been major change. Number one, they have adopted higher standards for their game operators. They've stopped doing business with the guy who was running the games that we focused on. And they now have a new way to resolve customer complaints right on the midway.
Well, thank you.
Okay.
And thank you to Arnold Diaz. But wait, he's coming back. Because speaking of coming back, when we come back, it's all about the pool entrapments. It's a safety break for your kids. Stay with us. Are you thinking about hitting the pool this summer or during spring break? If you are, this is the safety break you're not going to want to miss. At some pools and spas, your child may be sitting on one of those things that sucks you like a suck cannon from Ratchet and Clank. But it's really a safety issue. Can anything be done about this? Here again is Arnold Diaz with our safety break.
The irony is this after-prom party for the junior class of Lakewood High in New Jersey was intended to be a safe haven. No drugs, no drinking, just a day of good times at a local health club.
It was just basically having fun that day.
John Soto was one of the 300 students at the party. So was his good friend, Tanya Nickens. In this home video, you see her getting out of the pool, heading toward the hot tub, having no idea of the danger that awaited her at the bottom.
When she went under, she tugged on someone, and it was very lightly, so they thought that she was playing at first.
Many of the mourners at Tanya's funeral still couldn't understand how it happened. How did a healthy 16-year-old girl drown in a hot tub filled with people? And why were they unsuccessful in trying to rescue her? In hundreds of thousands of swimming pools, hot tubs, and kiddie pools like this, there could be a danger you won't know about until it's too late. You or your child may be sitting in the water at a community or hotel waiting pool near the drain, unaware that the drain's cover may be cracked, loose, even missing. If you sit on the drain or duck your head underwater and your hair gets caught inside, the suction force is so powerful it can literally hold you to the bottom.
As I arrived to the pool area, I saw this frantic and desperate struggle that
Vice Principal Gil Suarez and Principal Bill Anderson were among those who tried to pull Tanya off the bottom.
You had, I'd say, 6 to 8 large males pulling, and there was just no give whatsoever.
Did you know what kind of force was holding her down?
At that time, no.
While they were trying to pull her, they had her hand out, and it turned blue.
You had a sense that she was dead at that point?
Yes.
Most pool drain covers can become brittle and crack over time. Investigators believe that's what happened with this grate, that it was already cracked, and when Tanya sat on it, it collapsed. The suction from the drain underneath held her to the bottom.
When I heard how she was trapped, I was shocked. I didn't realize that a type of a vacuum seal in a pool or a hot tub could be that strong.
In Florida, we saw how powerful that suction force is.
This ball weighs what?
This weighs about 40 pounds.
That's like a young child.
Right, about a 4-year-old child, and it's flexible like the buttocks of a young child would be. It's about the same.
Engineer Lee Swanger from Failure Analysis Associates set up a graphic demonstration of a drain's suction power in a normal pool or spa like this one, where children often play, unaware of the potential force beneath that cover. Swanger removed the drain cover and disabled the vacuum breaker, a safety feature many pool and spa owners do not have. He then lowered the 40-pound ball into the water and on top of the uncovered drain.
And now it's stuck on there. We're going to start cranking, and
the scale shows that because of the suction power, to dislodge the 40-pound ball from the drain, you'd have to be able to lift more than 400 pounds.
Could a normal person lift 400 pounds off?
no, I couldn't. In fact, we can take the scale off, and you and I can pull on here and see if we can dislodge it. Arnold, you want to
Sure.
grab the rope? We're both pulling as hard as we can, and we can't save the simulated child.
Wow, that's incredible, that amount of force there.
It's not only hot tubs. The suction force is just as strong in many swimming and wading pools. Only after Swanger pressed the pump's shutoff switch was the seal broken and the ball released. But there was no shutoff switch nearby when 3-year-old William Boulay innocently went into this kiddie pool last year at a motel near Baltimore. William's parents, Lisa and Gary, later found out the pool had a history of problems.
The health department had shut that pool down before we moved into that hotel.
In 1994, an inspector had ordered the wading pool closed after finding the main drain grate is broken off and must be replaced. A year later, the problem still hadn't been adequately fixed when Williams sat down on the drain. His mother became concerned when she noticed he wasn't moving.
I said, "What are you doing?" And it wasn't so much of a scream or a holler, but it was more of a faint cry. Ma is shaking, and I went over to see what was wrong, and I said, "What are you doing?" And I went to go pick him up, and when I lifted him from underneath the arms from the back, I couldn't get him out of the hole.
She called for help. A hotel employee ran to find the shutoff switch, which was far from the pool area, down a walkway, through 2 doors, back outside, and in this electrical room, where the pump was finally turned off.
He popped up out of the hole, and I hollered, "He's free." And next thing I know, there was blood all over the pool. Intestines.
The suction from the pool drain had literally pulled most of William's intestines out of his body through his anus. His parents rushed him to Johns Hopkins Children's Center, where doctors told them intestines cannot be repaired or reattached once they're outside the body.
They've done wonders with him. They've saved his life. But I also have to look at reality that I could lose my son at any time. He's barely got any insides left.
A year and 6 operations later, William is hooked up to liquid feeding tubes 24 hours a day.
The summer's here. I have 3 children that still want to go swimming. But I'm terrified. I will not let them in that pool until I double check and triple check.
But most parents don't know to check the drain covers before they or their kids go into the pool or hot tub. Most have never heard about the potential dangers of improperly covered drains.
We have a lot of pools out there that are bombs, that are ticking bombs.
Aquatic expert Tom Ebro has investigated a number of drain entrapments. He believes there have been many more than the 65 to 75 reported cases since 1978.
In those drowning situations and those disembowelment and serious injuries cases, those are reported, of course. But I think there's far too many very close accidents that could have been fatal.
That don't go reported.
That don't go reported.
Still, David Carmel of the National Spa and Pool Institute says drain entrapment is a very rare accident.
And certainly the accidents that happen are tragic, and they're very tragic because they could be prevented by simple compliance with our standards.
But the industry's voluntary standards, says Tom Ebro, are not stringent enough.
The industry still to this day doesn't address the need for an emergency shut-off switch.
In a number of these tragic accidents, the shut-off switch for the pump has been far away from the actual spa. Does your standard require there to be a shut-off switch nearby?
The standard does not address where the shut-off switch is, because we try to prevent the accident from happening in the first place.
But while the industry recommends all hot tubs have more than one drain outlet for each pump, there's no such recommendation for swimming and wading pools. 3 years ago, this kiddie pool in Raleigh, North Carolina, had only one drain, and the county inspector did not notice the drain cover was loose.
This is the way the drain was at the time the inspector came.
Yes.
Right? It could be lifted off just like this.
Yes.
Okay, it wasn't screwed down.
No, it was not.
Catherine Bond says no one at their community pool association knew the cover should have been screwed down. Neither did Valerie Lakey, now 8 years old.
Was the drain something that the kids at the pool would play with?
Yeah.
Take the cover off and...
Yeah, one of my friends took the cover off and sat on it and got back up and told me to sit on it.
What did it feel like?
Felt like somebody was grabbing me.
What did happen to you?
Well, the drain, I think, sucked a few of my intestines out.
Valerie lost more than 50% of her intestines, and while her parents say she's recently been able to resume a relatively normal life during the day, at night the seriousness of her medical condition is apparent.
I did it.
We feel strongly that it never should have happened.
That it wasn't an accident.
Well, it was preventable. I mean, accidents are, things that you can't help.
Dave and Sandy Lakey have worked to change the law in North Carolina. Now all pools in that state must have 2 drain outlets for each suction pump. This way, if one drain is covered by a body, the water can flow through the other outlet, almost completely eliminating the chance of a suction lock. But that's not required in most other states.
I'm certain that North Carolina isn't the only place where people ever built single drain wading pools.
This man, David Stengel, has invented a device that goes inside a pool or spa pump and automatically shuts off the suction if the drain is obstructed and sounds an alarm. While it performed well in recent government tests, it's not yet widely available. In the meantime, catastrophic drain entrapments remain a real danger.
You worry about your children crossing the street, and you worry about all the things that can happen to your children, and this is just one of those things you never, ever thought of.
Arnold, first, could you list the best ways to avoid this in a pool?
Well, we should emphasize that parents should definitely check the drain cover. Make sure it's not loose or cracked, and don't let your kids play around it or sit around it in any case. And anyone who has long hair should keep that hair away from the drain covers. There have been a number of drownings from hair that got caught in the grates.
And they couldn't get loose.
They couldn't get loose.
What's happened with Valerie and Williams since you reported first?
Valerie's had a rough year in and out of the hospital. Both her family and Williams' family have received settlements of more than $20 million from their lawsuits. But the families say that money could be easily eaten up by what could be a lifetime of medical care ahead.
In addition to a cutoff switch, better might be an automatic shut-off when the drain is obstructed.
That would be the perfect answer.
You don't need to throw in a common sense alert. They've already explained it. But if you're planning on going swimming, make sure your kids do not play around in that area. Because really, if you're thinking about swimming, you need to understand about the very seriousness of these pool entrapments. It's something that's taken very seriously, and really, I just I don't have enough words. But there is there is actually final break is coming up next. But first, when we return, those school bills. Stay with us. I mean the safety bills for school safety, sorry. Stay with us. After that mass shooting in Uvalde, would there be more enough to prevent these types of shootings happening again? In Austin, there is a solution for it. House Bill 13 that would have requirements for all schools to have active shooter drills. Here's Michelle Lorenzo.
A child's safety and well-being is usually a parent's top priority, but nowadays it's also been a concern for parents when they send their kids to school, especially for Texans like mother of two Brooke Griffin, who has a son in kindergarten. Safety is also on the mind of this father of five. Neither will ever forget the state's deadliest school shooting at a Uvalde elementary school.
There's just so much going on now, just with the school shootings and everything. The world is just getting crazier every day.
I want my babies to come home every day. I don't want to have to worry about them being hurt in any way, especially at school when they're supposed to be safe.
All of the top GOP leaders in the Lone Star State have said they are focusing on school safety. Governor Greg Abbott even said the issue is one of his top priorities this legislative session. Many bills regarding school safety have been getting in front of our lawmakers, including House Bill 13. It would require school districts to adopt an active shooter preparedness plan. A special team would make policies to clarify procedures in case an emergency occurs. Districts would also be required to work closely with local law enforcement, who would walk through school buildings and lay out costs necessary to meet the state's established safety standards. There's also House Bill 3, which relates to the development and implementation of funding for public school safety and security requirements. Some of its actions include mandating the presence of at least one armed security officer during school hours. Parents we spoke with are pleased our state representatives are trying to fix a problem. They say the schools their children attend are doing a good job too.
They're really safe. They keep us updated in anything that's going on.
They have security in the school, inside and outside, walking around, and it's actually gated. So it just makes me feel more comfortable sending him to school and knowing that he's in a safe environment.
On a related note, Senate Bill 728 was passed yesterday. If it is signed into law, it would crack down on courts, requiring them to report all involuntary mental health hospitalizations for juveniles 16 and older. An investigation revealed some county and district courts were not reporting this information to the Texas Department of Public Safety because of a loophole. The Department of Public Safety sends those records to the FBI's National Firearms Background Check System.
So, there ain't no common sense to be put into this, so there is hope and change being made. And I really hope it does. School safety has always been a number one priority. For every school. When you send your kids to school, you want your child to be safe. When they come home, you don't expect them to come home with injuries or wounded arms. Now, that Friday night special I promised you from almost a week ago. Let me see if I can find it. There it is. Kindness on the court. That Friday night special I promised you. I'm going to have that for you when we come back. Can you ever imagine being an inspiration to one of your kids or to one of your students? Then you find out that your favorite inspiration, your favorite teacher has died. Carrying, as a coach and as a great teacher, carrying it with you. The inspiration, the mottos, and the reasons. It sounds like I'm quoting Kenny Chesney's song Coach. The coach you're about to hear passed almost 3 weeks ago. And really, he really is probably inspiring. Here's Larissa Liska, my good friend, Larissa Liska.
Coach Gilcrease had the greatest vision of potential for when he worked with young people.
Cleveland Gilcrease had a dream, and his passion for teaching was served on the court.
His teams would dominate for 20 years. The other junior highs would wonder, how is he winning? But his teams had the best attitude and work ethic.
Gilcrease coached young players at Winseal, Baker Middle School, and the Al Cruz Tennis Center, where he was hired by Susan Shelby Torrance. 20 years ago, she believed he was the right person to lead the free summer clinics.
And he had certificates with all the children's names on them. And so when I come here, this is what I think of as those happy moments.
The courts at HEB Tennis Center provide a different feeling of joy for Beverly Gilcrease Gant.
This is where we played all day with Dad, so it makes sense to be here.
Beverly remembers her dad's kindness on the court.
Where he would yell out, beautiful, and all right, you're doing good, hang in there.
But it was his kindness behind closed doors, helping those who could not afford to play.
At my parents' home, in the garage right now, there are racks of clothes that was there that when a child or a tennis player didn't have what they needed, all they needed to do is go to the house.
Sometimes Gilcrease even rewarded his players with a good meal at Price's Chef.
We walk in and find his picture, sit under his picture, and we would sit and chat and, talk about life.
Looking at the menu just over a week after Gilcrease passed away, Arlene Medrano remembers the order.
It gives you a choice, hash browns or grits, and it was always grits. I didn't know what grits were before I met Daddy Gil.
Gilcrease was more than a coach.
A friend and a father figure in my life through him, and it wasn't just me.
He impacted every player that picked up a racket, watching over them till his final day.
I'll see you later, either here on the tennis court or I see you upstairs. Take good care, love you, will always be thinking of you, and goodbye for now.
Cleveland Gilcrease passed away February 11th. He was 88 years old.
And it has been months since that passing. And I thank my good friend Larissa Liska for telling this story. I'll be back in a moment with our viral video for viral break. Stay with me. Now our viral break of the day. Viral clips. It's something it's something new on this broadcast. Viral break is when we look at some very great viral videos, either from this year or from years ago, that could make you laugh. Because every now and then in this broadcast, we like to have a little fun. And in this first one right here, this homeless guy takes a shit in the mop bucket when there was no bathroom. Roll the tape. There's actually another version. Take a look at this one.
This guy's doing bad. What's this guy doing?
What you doing?
Hey! Hey, shit in the bucket! It's shit in your bucket, man! Mom! Call the police! Call the cops! Hey, break it up, asshole! Shit! Don't do it again!
He did it again.
Oh, God! He's shit in the bucket, Mom! Call
Yo!
the fucking cops! He's shit in the man's bucket, Mom!
I can't imagine watching somebody take a shit in a bucket. I can only imagine somebody taking a deuce in the sink. You know when that movie? Bob Saget says like, he shit everywhere, all the walls. He shit everywhere, and then it's actually quite funny to watch. Next Bible break on Saturday. A homeless man takes a shower in the subway, and nobody wants to see that. Even for other people. That's Give Me a Break for this Friday going to Saturday. See you again for Give Me a Break Saturday night. For all of us here at YouTube, don't you ever take a shit in the mop bucket or in the sink or in the urinal or even outside. Goodbye, everybody. 52-minute mark. Wow. Have a good night, everyone.